Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to talk about receptor. This is the class number 1, and the class number 1 I will discuss about the concept of the receptor and classification of the receptor like baroreceptor, mechanoreceptor, chemoreceptor, telereceptor, extero, anterior. These are all the types of the receptor. Okay, but in the class number 2 I will discuss about the properties of the receptor. Okay. So what is receptor? This is the only the proof class. What is mean by proof class? I will prove in this class that receptor is a macromolecule and not the nerve ending, not the cell, not the tissue, not the organ. Some people say that receptor is the tissue, cell, nerve ending which receives stimulus. Okay, but this is the bad concept. This is the stupid concept. This is only the concept for the easily understanding, but the real concept is that receptor is a macromolecule. I will prove this concept in this lecture, okay, along with the classification of the receptor. Okay, receptor is a cell, tissue, organ. This is only the concept for the class 9, 10th, but at high level, receptor is a macromolecule. So receptor is a macromolecule to which ligand is attached and result some modification in the biological system. What is a receptor? Receptor is a macromolecule, not the nerve ending, not the cell. Okay, when ligand is attached to this receptor and produce modification in the biological system. Okay, what is mean by ligand? Any substance which is attached to receptor and stimulate the receptor is called ligand. Ligand are all hormone, all neurotransmitter, some drug, some toxin. So these are the ligands. When this substance is attached to its own receptor, it stimulates the receptor. So this substance is called ligand. So what is receptor? As we know that cell membrane of the cell is consist of lipids, different types of lipid, different types of protein and carbohydrate. So receptor is a protein molecule which is present in the cell membrane of the cell or in the cytoplasm of the cell or in the nuclear membrane of the cell. Okay, so some people say that a receptor is a cell. Receptor is not a cell. Receptor is a macromolecule. So the cell is surrounded by the cell membrane and the cell consists of protein, specific types of protein which is called receptor. So this is only the proof class. Suppose this is a cell, or this is a nerve ending. Suppose this is a whole cell, not nerve ending. So the cell consists of a receptor which is called, suppose this is a 7-pass receptor. 7-pass receptor are those receptors which is passed to 7 times through the cell membrane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this receptor is present in the cell membrane of the receptor. Okay, this is the extracellular domain and this is the intracellular domain. This is the general view of the receptor. Okay, this is not the example of any type of receptor but a general view. What is extracellular domain? What is domain? Domain is the specific part of the receptor which is affected by ligand and produce some modification in the biological system. So extracellular domain are those specific part of the receptor to which ligand is attached, while intracellular domain is that part of the receptor which produce modification inside the cell. This is also called the effector domain. Effector is also called effector domain because it produces effect. Okay, one things to be noted, the concept of the domain. Receptor is a macromolecule to which ligand is attached. The concept of ligand. Every receptor do not have attachment site for the ligand. Those receptor which have a specific site for the ligand, those receptor is called ligand receptor. While some receptor do not have ligand site, those receptor are called non-ligand receptor. So suppose this is the ligand receptor, the receptor for the touch, for the pressure, for the vibration. These are the receptor which do not have specific site for the ligand. But suppose this is the receptor for the touch. Suppose this is the non-ligand receptor. So this receptor is activated by applying pressure or touch on this finger. So this area become activated and produce action potential and modification and regulate biological system. So okay, I will discuss this later, and these are the some example of the. This is the suppose this is the hair cell in the ear. This is the non ligand receptor. This is the ligand receptor because ligand smell molecule is attached, odorant is attached to. So this is the non-ligand receptor. Okay, so the difference between ligand and the non-ligand is that when ligand is attached, it produces biological modification in the cell. Two types of receptor. One is called extracellular receptor and one is called intracellular receptor. Extracellular receptor are those receptors which is present in the cell membrane and attach ligand to outside. Okay, so this is the extracellular receptor. Why it is present in the cell membrane? Why it is present on the surface of the cell membrane? Because though the ligand which is attached to this receptor is non-permeable due to large size, due to greater charge. So the ligand is non-permeable. So for this ligand, receptor is naturally present in the cell membrane. Okay, so this is the extracellular receptor. When this receptor is activated, it produces modification, long modification in the cytoplasm, or it produces modification in the nucleus. It gives message to the nucleus to produce some protein by transcription, translation, by the production of messenger RNA, transfer RNA. So suppose it gives message to the nucleus, and otherwise another message is given to the cytoplasm. Okay, another receptor is the intracellular receptor. The receptor which is present in the cytoplasm or on the surface of the nuclear membrane is called intracellular receptor. So this is the intracellular receptor, where this is the extracellular receptor. Suppose this is the ligand. This ligand is permeable. This is the least charge and small size. Okay, so this is permeable. This ligand is enter to the cell and attached to its receptor. This is the receptor and produce modification and bring some biological changes, while another ligand is attached to this receptor. So suppose this one is the ligand. This one is the ligand which carry a message to this receptor. So the body, suppose this is the message for the cell to produce protein. So there present DNA, there start transcription, translation, production of messenger RNA. So the message is come to the cytoplasm and finally produce a specific type of protein. So this is the pathway for the message of the ligand to the receptor. Okay, this is the general view. So receptor is a macromolecule. This is a protein which is present inside the cell or outside of the cell. Okay, so this is not the nerve ending, because the nerve ending is also made from the cell membrane, and the cell membrane have the macromolecule which is called the receptor. Some people say that cell is a receptor. Cell is not a receptor. The molecule which is present inside the cell or on the surface of the cell, that molecule is called the receptor. So that was this is the concept for the easily understanding. Okay, but the actual concept is the receptor is a macromolecule. Okay, suppose I am not going until for the formation of the glycogen, formation of the coming of the insulin, but giving a just quick idea. But this is a background for the receptor and its biological modification. Suppose blood glucose level high. So the blood high glucose level is detected. This is the blood which have high level of glucose after the some diet. The pancreas cell, beta cell in the pancreas detect the high blood glucose level. So the beta cell release a molecule which is called insulin. Insulin is the molecule which help in the removal of glucose from the blood vessel and store them and the liver and the skeletal muscle and the adipose tissue. Okay, so insulin is released. Insulin is a ligand. So this ligand, this is the insulin ligand, is attached to the receptor. This is the liver cell. Okay, this is a hepatocyte cell. So the glucose is come from the blood vessel and stored in the hepatocyte and the liver. Okay, so this is the signal to this receptor. This is the receptor on the surface of the cell membrane. It gives message to when this insulin is attached to this receptor. So this is only the message when insulin is attached here. The message is read here. This is only the message to the hepatocyte cell to store glucose. So many of the mini reaction take place. These reactions are only take place for the production of the vesicle. So after many long process, after large process chemical reaction, vesicles are produced and the cell membrane of the hepatocyte cell and blood, and there are present blood capillary. The glucose come out from the blood vessel and go to the hepatocyte cell through this vesicle. The main purpose is the production of vesicle. So glucose enter and there glycogenesis occur and glucose is stored in the pump of the glycogen. So this is the quick view. Okay, ligand attached. This is only the message to the hepatocyte cell to store glucose. When the blood glucose level again slow down, the alpha cell released glucagon. Glucagon come and glucagon. Suppose this is the glucagon. When blood glucose slow down, glucagon is attached to its own receptor on the hepatocyte cell, and this is the message to the hepatocyte cell to release blood glucose level again. So this is a long process, but this is also a long this is itself a long process. This is itself a long process. Okay, so this is the quick view. There this is the classification of the receptor: exterior receptor and anterior receptor. Exterior receptor, this is a flow chart of the receptor, but this is the I will discuss one by one. This is the chemoreceptor. This is the telereceptor. Okay, hearing mechanism by a shortcut mechanism. Okay, this is the osmoreceptor, hypothalamus. Okay, this is the baroreceptor. First of all, this is the flow chart. Exterior receptor are those receptors which is present outside of the body, and anterior receptor are those receptors which is present inside of the body. Suppose the receptor which is present on the surface of the skin, the receptor which is present in the nose, olfactory receptor, the receptor which is present in the tongue, taste bud. These are the exterior receptor. But the anterior receptor, it is present in the blood vessel and the blood vessel wall and the heart wall and the veins wall, etc. Okay, so this is all about the anterior receptor. This is the exterior receptor. Meissner corpuscle and Merkel disc. This is a exterior receptor which is present in the skin. What is cutaneous? Exterior receptor is further divided into cutaneous receptor, chemoreceptor, telereceptor. What is cutaneous receptor? Cutaneous receptor, also called the mechanoreceptor. This is the mechanoreceptor. Cutaneous receptor are those receptors which is present all over the skin. It is present all over the skin of the body. Meissner corpuscle and Merkel disc. This is the one type of cutaneous receptor. Pacinian corpuscle, crest in bulb, nociceptor, pre-nerve ending. I will discuss this in a big detail here, but I will leave these three. Okay. So these are the receptor which is present. These are the mechanoreceptor. These are the cutaneous receptor. Cutaneous receptor are those receptor which is present in the skin and respond to the mechanical stimuli. These all receptors are called mechanical receptor because these receptor responds to mechanical stimuli like touch, pressure, fan, coolness, heatness, vibration. So some receptors are responsible for vibration, some for touch, some for pain, some for coolness. Okay. So what is pre-nerve ending? Pre-nerve ending or nociceptor are the receptor which help. This is the pain receptor. pain receptor and the skin. Okay, what is prenerve ending? I will discuss later. Chemoreceptor are those receptors which stimulate to the chemical, like smell like chemical and the smell like chemical and the taste sweet, bitter. Okay, these are the chemical. Taste bud, taste taste bud is not a receptor, but a taste bud is made from many types of cell, many types of cell, and make a huge mass which is called taste bud. And the taste bud, uh, uh, one of the cell from the taste bud contain, suppose one of the cell from the taste bud contain the cell, and that cell have cell membrane, and the cell membrane have macromolecule which is called taste bud. Okay, so this is only part simply concept. Olfactory receptor, I will discuss this the olfactory receptor. Okay, telereceptor. Telereceptor are also the exterior receptor. Telereceptor are those receptors which receive stimulus from outside of the body, which is not to be touched, not to be vibrated. Okay, but this is receive stimulus from distance of the body, like light and the sound. Rod and cone are the telereceptor which stimulate to the light. So these are the stimulus. Light is a stimulus at the distance. At the distance, this is eye. Light come at the distance. Okay, sound come to the ear from the distance. So these are also called the distance receptor, rod and cone. Here, hair cell and the organ of corti. Okay, what is mean by pre-nerve ending? I will discuss one by one. Okay, pre-nerve ending. Pre-nerve ending is a receptor because the pre-nerve ending is made from the this is the part of the cell membrane. This is the part of the neuron, and the neuron is made from the covered by the cell membrane. Okay, suppose nociceptor. Suppose this is my finger, which is affected by some pressure or some pain. So by what way I feel this pain? Okay, suppose this is the neuron. Suppose this is the dendrite. This is the dendrite, and zoom this area. This is the dendrite. When I touch this area by some needle, by sharp needle, I feel the effect of the pain because of the nerve ending. So people call that this nerve ending is called the receptor, but the actual receptor is that the nerve. This is the ciliary membrane. This is the ciliary membrane. Okay, of the nerve ending. The ciliary membrane consists of a macromolecule, large macromolecule, complex molecule, which is called sodium voltage regulated channel, potassium voltage regulated channel. Some are called mechanically operator channel. Okay, so one point, all the channel and the cell membrane of the cell are the receptor. Suppose this is the mechanically operator channel. So when I touch this area is stimulated, this channel is stimulated. So this is the non-ligand receptor, because ligand is not need, only the touch is need. When I touch this area, some modificational change occur in this protein channel, and after the many reactions, this channel is undergo some conformational change, and after conformational change, sodium influx start. Sodium go inward and potassium go outward. So their action potential is produced, and thus we feel the pain. Okay, so this is the receptor. This is the macromolecule which is present in the ciliary membrane. So nerve ending is called the receptor, but the actual concept is this molecule. Okay, this is only for the understanding, but the actual concept is the. So there is proved that receptor is a macromolecule, not a cell, not the nerve ending. Okay, so we feel the pain of our finger. Okay, so this is the all about the nerve ending. I will leave this, I will skip this one and explain this one, and this one. Okay. So what is the function of rod cell and cone cell? These are the receptor. Okay. This one here is, suppose this is the rod cell. When light fall on our eye, light enter to the eye and pass through the cornea to the vitreous humor, through the aqueous humor, through the lens, and finally reach to a specific cell, a specific narrow cell. This is a narrow cell, which is called the rod cell and the cone cell. So this is the receptor. Why it is called receptor? Because this is the light detecting cells. These are the neuron cell. Okay. These are the disk. The rod cell consists, these are the axon terminal. This is the nucleus. Okay, this is the connecting part. This is the external pointing part. This part consists of many hundred of the disc, which is called rod cell disc. Suppose these are the disc which tell the rod cell. Okay. I remove one disk. This is the disk. So the rod cell consists many thousand of the molecule, which is called rhodopsin. This is the actual receptor. Rhodopsin, iodopsin, ionopsin, cytopsin. These are all the molecule. These are all the receptor molecule. So this is a conjugated molecule. This is a protein molecule which is present in the disk. Thousand of rhodopsin are present in the single disk. Okay. So when I remove a single, these are many rhodopsin. When I remove a single rhodopsin, this is a single rhodopsin. Okay. When light fall on the rod cell, fall on the rhodopsin, this is the rhodopsin. Rhodopsin undergo many biological reactions, many changes. Rhodopsin convert to the beta rhodopsin by its own chemical reaction. Then beta rhodopsin converted to the lume rhodopsin. Lume rhodopsin convert to the meta rhodopsin. I am not discuss the phenomena of the vision, but giving just a proof class. This is a part of the proof. Okay, meta rhodopsin and some other chemical changes take place, but at the final stage, action potential is produced here. At the final stage, at this point, this is the cell membrane. I assume this cell membrane. The cell membrane consists of channel. Sodium go inward and potassium go outward. So action potential is produced, which go to. So this is the emphasis of the vision, which go to the brain. Okay. So when action potential is reached, here the synaptic knob. The synaptic knob release glutamate. So glutamate is attached to the bipolar cell. Here are present bipolar cell. Okay. Bipolar cell. Glutamate is attached to its own receptor to the bipolar cell, and action potential is further go in the forward direction and reach to the brain. So this is all about the rod and cone concept. Okay, that rod and cone are the neuron cell. This is the not the actual receptor, but the rhodopsin is the receptor. Okay, this is only the concept for the rhodopsin. So this concept is clear. Hair cell and the organ of Carti. Hair cell is a receptor organ in the which help in the hearing of sound, which help in the balancing of the our body. Okay, so this is the phenomena of hair cell. Suppose this is my ear. This is the ear vena. This is the ear canal. This is the eardrum. This is the one bone. This is another bone, and this one is the another bone. Okay, malleus, ancus, stapes. So when sound come, it vibrate this membrane, then vibrate this bone, and this bone. So this is the stapes, malleus, ancus, stapes. So this is the stapes. So hair cell are the cell which is present. These are the receptor cell of the ear, which help in the hearing, which help in the balancing of the body. So when I zoom this area, this is the stapes. When this bone vibrate back and forth, this bone is also vibrate back and forth. This bone is also vibrate back and forth. So it vibrate the membrane, and when this membrane is vibrate, this membrane move back and forth. So inside and the cochlea, inside and the vestibular apparatus for the balancing, or inside the cochlea, there present a fluid as a hard fluid, which is called endolymph. Okay, this is the endolymph. When vibration come to this area, so this is the hair cell. The hair cell consists of cilia. This is one cilia. Large cilia is called kynoecilia. These are the cilia. Okay, so the hair cell consists of the cilia. When vibration come, actually this is the mechanoscell. This is the mechanoreceptor, because it responds to the vibration, to the mechanical stimuli. So when the sound here come here, then the fluid is move in the forward direction. The fluid is move in the forward direction. As a result, these cilia bend in the forward direction. When this cilia bend in the forward direction, when I zoom this area, only this part of the cilia, then potassium voltage regulated channel open due to this pressure. So this is the actual receptor. When this area is stimulated, so suppose this is the way which come here, this area is stimulated, so the receptor these are the receptor. Some conformational change, some chemical reaction take place in this receptor, and finally this receptor open. When this receptor open, potassium go inward to the cell from the endolymph, from this fluid. Okay, so this channel is open due to the mechanical pressure, like the narrow ending. Suppose this is the narrow ending. This is not the narrow cell. This is the excitable cell, but this is stimulated by this vibration. So this is these are the mechanoreceptor, so which is open due to the vibration. When potassium go inward, when many of the potassium go inward, after the long changes, after the deconformation of this receptor, so this potassium is attached with the vesicle in this cell, and the vesicle, when the potassium is attached to this vesicle, some conformational change occur in the in the membrane of the vesicle, and then this membrane is fused with the cell membrane of the hair cell, and they release glutamic acid or glutamate. When glutamate is released, this is the non-ligand receptor. This is the non-ligand receptor, but here present nerve fiber. Suppose this is the dendrite. This is the dendrite ending. This is the receptor for the glutamate. So this receptor, when this glutamate is attached here, so this is another receptor. So this is the non-ligand receptor, because it is stimulated due to pressure, due to vibration, while this is the ligand receptor, because the glutamate is the ligand and attached to this receptor. When the ligand is attached here, another action potential is produced, because the sodium channel is open and sodium rush inward. When this receptor is activated, this receptor activates this one receptor. This is also a receptor. After the stimulation of this receptor, due to this receptor, conformational change occur in this receptor, and this receptor become open, and sodium rush inward, potassium rush outward. So one receptor stimulate another receptor, and therefore regulate body function. So the action potential is reached to the brain, and therefore we hear the sound. So this is the mechanism. These are the telereceptor. These are only the telereceptor. Okay, so this is the telereceptor. This is the also telereceptor. Okay, another point is the chemoreceptor. What is mean by the chemoreceptor? This is the chemoreceptor. There are present different types, many million types of the chemoreceptor, but the most simple chemoreceptor is the olfactory receptor. Okay, taste buds receptor in the GIT. Thousands of receptors present in the palm of chemoreceptor. Okay, suppose this is the cut section of the nose. This is the nose. Okay, this is the nose. This is the nostril part. So when I zoom this area, these are the neuron cell. These are the neuron cell. This is the axon. These are the dendrites. This is the mucus. Okay. When this is a smell molecule, odorant. This is suppose this is bad smell molecule. This is bad smell molecule or good smell molecule. So this is the odorant. When I zoom, these are the nerve fiber which go to the brain. When I take this one neuron and when I zoom this dendrite, here, so this is the odorant molecule. When odorant molecule is attached here, so when odorant molecule is attached, this is the cell membrane. This is the intracellular space. When the odorant molecule is attached here, this is the receptor. This is the olfactory receptor. This is the actual olfactory receptor. Long chemical reaction take place after long process. It stimulates another receptor which is called sodium voltage regulated channel. When this receptor is stimulated, it open after conformational changes and sodium influx start inward, potassium influx start outward. So the sensation of smell is felt. Okay. So this is the olfactory receptor. So this is the olfactory receptor are those receptor which help in the smell sensation, which responds to smell. So this is the olfactory receptor, while these are the general receptor. These are the general molecule which is present in every cell, every types of cell membrane. But this is the olfactory receptor. This is the olfactory receptor. When odorant is attached here and stimulated by the odorant, long chemical reaction take place. Okay, I am not going on detail for this one. Every types of smell molecule have its own receptor. Okay, so this is all about the chemoreceptor. Chemoreceptor are those receptor which responds to a chemical like smell molecule is also a chemical during taste bud is also a chemoreceptor, like sweet thing, bitter thing, thrush molecule. These are all the chemoreceptor. Okay, another receptor is the osmoreceptor, the most important at all the level. Osmoreceptor are those receptor which give response to change in the osmolarity of the blood. Suppose this is the blood vessel. Blood vessel consists of water, amino acid, vitamin, waste product, and many other substances: sodium, calcium, potassium, chlorine. Okay. Suppose our body blood volume become low down, so our body release a hormone which is called ADH. Okay, or vasopressin or vaso. This is the hormone which is released from the hypothalamus with the help of the osmoreceptor, and then this hormone go to the kidney and help in the reabsorption of water, so the blood volume again go to the normal. So this is the condition by the low blood volume due to the loss of water. Okay, so when this low volume blood, low amount, so there are at present water and very low amount, because water is dehydrated from the body by due to some problem. Okay, so there, and this is the blood capillary. When this blood capillary is passed through the hypothalamus, this is the structure of the hypothalamus. There the concentration of the sodium, potassium, calcium are very large. So this is more osmolar. This is more osmolar blood, because water, there the amount of water is low, while the amount of the solutes like potassium, calcium, sodium are large. So this is the more osmolar blood. So when more osmolar blood, concentrated blood pass from this area near the hypothalamus, this is the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus consists of specific neuron. These are the neuron. When this blood pass from this area absent blood-brain barrier. So the the absentee of blood-brain barrier is there have a significance point. When blood is passed from this area, blood attract water from this receptor, from this neuron. Suppose this is the, I zoom only the small spike of the dendrite. This is the dendrite cell body axon. So it drain out H2O, water, from this neuron. So when water go from this neuron shrank out, collapse. When this neuron collapse, the cell membrane of this neuron consists. This is the cell membrane consists of the protein channel receptor. So the receptor, when this neuron shrink, here the receptor is stimulated. This receptor is called the osmoreceptor. When this receptor stimulated, this receptor gave message is go to the this is the pituitary gland. This is the stalk. This is the infundibulum, stalk of the pituitary gland. The message is go to the pituitary gland, and thus pituitary gland produce ADH. When ADH is released, is go to the kidney and help in the reabsorption of the water. So okay, so this is the osmoreceptor. Osmoreceptor are those receptors which is response to the change in osmolarity of the blood. There, osmolarity of the blood come when the blood water level, the blood volume again come to the normal. So there, the amount of the water is increased again due to the reabsorption of water in the lung with the help of the ADH. Okay, so there, the water is again thrown to the neuron cell. Then then another message is go to the hypothalamus and to the pituitary gland. So this is a message by the hypothalamus to stop releasing of the ADH. Okay, so this is the osmoreceptor. We are coming from the class 11, class 12, and class up to the BS, but we do not know about the phenomena of the osmoreceptor, phenomena of the olfactory receptor, phenomena of the taste bud. But this is the only class which clear all the things. Okay, so this is the osmoreceptor. Baroreceptor, this is the final receptor, the baroreceptor. Baroreceptor is a stretch receptor. This is a mechanical receptor. This is the mechanoreceptor. This is the anterior receptor, chemoreceptor, which is present in the, and this is the chemoreceptor, and suppose in the GIT. Well, this is the chemoreceptor, and the nose, this is chemoreceptor, and the tongue, this is the osmoreceptor. Is clear. Okay, the baroreceptor is anterior receptor which is present inside the body. So baroreceptor are those receptor which is response to the blood pressure changes in the blood vessel. Okay, there are two types of baroreceptor. One is called what is this? This is the very dangerous man. Okay, baroreceptor are two types. One is called low blood pressure baroreceptor and other is called high blood pressure receptor. But here I only explain the high blood pressure baroreceptor. As you know that this is the aortic arch. This is the right external carotid artery. This is the left external carotid artery. When this common carotid artery is divided into two branches, at the point of bifurcation, at the point of division, there present a small wide, and this is present a small wide area. This area is called carotid sinus. So the aortic sinus, the aortic arch, the carotid sinus consist of dense amount of the receptor. It is called baroreceptor. Actually, baroreceptor is the narrow ending. This is the narrow ending. Okay, that we explain later. That we explain previous. Okay, so baroreceptor is the narrow ending and the carotid sinus of the carotid artery and regulate the high blood pressure, while the low blood pressure baroreceptor are present in the lepto and the atrium of the heart, and the atrium of the heart, and the ventricle of the heart, and the wall of the heart. Okay, so this is the high blood pressure baroreceptor. Okay, when the blood pressure, when there come more blood, the blood pressure is more in this time, so it stretch this area. When more blood come, more there the blood pressure suppose is high. When more blood come, it stretch the blood vessel. This is the, it stretch the blood vessel. Suppose zoom this area, this is the zooming point, this is the zooming point, this is small area, so the blood will go outward. So there are present nerve ending. This nerve ending is called baroreceptor. What, and this there are present many neuron. So many neuron combine together and make vagus nerve and go to the brain. How this phenomena occur when I zoom only this area? So when blood vessel go outward, stretch, extend due to high blood pressure, so there are present some channel, some receptor. These are the receptor. These are the receptor. These are the baroreceptor. When baroreceptor, this receptor stretch due to pressure, due to high blood pressure. So this channel activate and sodium go inward, potassium go outward. Action potential is produced here. This is the message which is go to the inhibitory center and the brain and the medulla oblongata. When this message is go to the inhibitory center, when so there the inhibitory center is stimulated. The function of the inhibitory center is to inhibit, is to slow down the heart rate. So the message is go to the heart and slow down the heart rate, and the blood pressure is again come to its normal. Okay, so this is all about the baroreceptor. Okay, so these are all about the receptor. These are the different types of the receptor. Okay, but the main point, the only confusable concept is that some people say that receptor is the cell. Receptor is not the cell, is not the nerve ending, is not the tissue, but these are the concept for easily understanding. But the receptor is a macromolecule. Okay, so this is the most important topic, and the next lecture and the class number 2 I will discuss about the properties of the